What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a quiet week, but we're back with another starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's trip to face St Johnstone in the league. This kicks off a big 8 days for Celtic with Champions League duty in Dortmund on Tuesday, and then away to Ross County next weekend before we close out for the next international break. So 3 really big games coming up. First of all, I just want to touch on Dortmund. We're going to be there. We're going to be bringing you so much content. If you haven't already, please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of it. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. Come with us. There's going to be lots of content from the journey. Once we get out there, we'll be making a few videos for you as well. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribed. Absolutely buzzing for that trip. But first up, it is this trip to Perth tomorrow to face St Johnstone, who are without a manager after sacking Craig Levein. They're obviously sitting 10th. They've only had one win. It was that 3-0 win at Kilmarnock early on in the season when Kilmarnock were trying to navigate their European qualifiers. For us, off the back of that 5-2 win over Falkirk last weekend in the Cup, where I think obviously Brendan Rodgers makes 8 changes to the team. We lacked a bit of flow. We lacked the rhythm that we've been used to so far this season, having won the first 7 games going into that and then coming out with the victory. But we needed those big players off the bench, the likes of Engels, the likes of Kuhn, who almost single-handedly changes the game with 2 assists and 2 goals. We needed that input off the bench. I think it's too early to judge some of the new players. A lot of those players have barely kicked a ball so far this season. And when you come into a team, okay, it's been playing well, but when you make so many changes, it's an 11 that's basically never played together. So you can't expect everybody to be in top form. And we'll wait and see once we see the likes of Trusty and Valle over 5-10 games before we start forming opinions on them. But we needed the input from the big players off the bench, and I thought again it's good that we've got that. I think you can tell the likes of Kuhn is in a brilliant spot, great confidence, great assist for the first goal, brilliant pressing for the second goal, and then a nice pass into Ida less than a minute later, and then his 2 goals, a lovely dinked finish and one drilled for the edge of the box. So you can tell he's a totally different player to the one that we watched in the back end of last season. And again, you see the quality of Engels coming into the game, his power, his passing, a lovely ball through for that first goal for Kuhn. So lots to be positive about in terms of the starting 11. I think we're going to go back somewhere close to full strength tomorrow. But of course, the big news is that Cameron Carter-Vickers is going to miss the game with an injury in his foot. Brendan Rodgers confirmed today that he will miss the game. He's been nursing this problem for a while. He was in a lot of pain during the Bratislava game. They were obviously able to give him last weekend off. But it's not healed to the point where they're going to risk him tomorrow. I sincerely hope it is, with a view to Tuesday. They just think that they can leave him out tomorrow and he'll be back and he'll be able to nurse it through on Tuesday, because he's a huge player for us, and it'd be a massive blow getting into that huge game in Dortmund away from home in the Champions League without Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's such a calming presence, a commanding presence. He gives a level of solidity to the whole team, but obviously to the back four. He's huge for us, so it'd be a massive blow if he was to miss out on Tuesday. Let's hope it is just tomorrow. But Alistair Johnstone is back and available for the game, and we come into it obviously looking to continue this win and run. 8 games. Can you believe? You might have already seen it run along the bottom of your screen. This is the longest run of consecutive wins that Celtic have been on since 2000-2001 under Martin O'Neill and his start to the season. So 8 consecutive wins. We're in a brilliant spot. I think if you go back to last season, it takes it to 14. The last 6 or 7 games of last season as well. So the team are playing brilliantly. Really looking forward to getting back into it. An odd kick-off time tomorrow, 5:45, away from home on a Saturday night. Something different with Premier Sports covering the game, but really looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be a good atmosphere going through to St Johnstone, and we can get another 3 points, and then all attention will turn to that huge Champions League game during the week in Germany. So we'll get to the team then, and we'll start in goals like we always do. And Kasper Schmeichel, who did get the nod in the cup game against Falkirk last weekend, maybe a wee bit of sentiment there for him, given he was on loan at Falkirk as a young player. He did get beaten twice, I think, poor defensively from us for both the goals. I think the first goal's a really nice strike for outside the box. And there's not much he can do with the header. I think the marking, the defensive work for Valle out wide in terms of trying to stop the cross was poor, and also the players unmarked at the back post to nod it back where it came from into the far corner. So not too much that he could do. Probably the busiest he's been as a Celtic goalkeeper so far, and Brendan Rodgers praising Falkirk for being the most awkward, the most difficult opponent that we've faced so far this season. So Schmeichel in goals, Johnstone back at right back, a huge player for us. hopefully that hopefully that weekend off last weekend has done him the world of good. Hopefully he's back to his top level. He's been a really key play for us in this opening period of the season. But again, thinking about going to Dortmund during the week, you need your strongest possible defence out there to deal with games at that level, and Johnston's certainly part of that. So hopefully he's fine, starts tomorrow, gets another good performance under his belt. Centre half, obviously Carter-Vickers misses out. I'm going to go with Trusty, who I'll come back to in a minute. Scales, of course, and Greg Taylor at left back. Now Trusty, I know a lot of people weren't blown away by any means by his performance last weekend against Falkirk. I think the entire back four looked really, really shaky. It was clear that we could be gotten at, and Falkirk exploited that well at times. Played some nice football, but I think the lack of continuity in that back four last weekend, four players who have never played together, Valle, Trusty making debuts, Welsh coming into the team out of nowhere, playing really his first substantial minutes of the season, Ralston at right back, so a totally changed defence. I think you could see that. I think getting Johnstone, Scales and Taylor back in will bring a real sense of continuity. Those three know each other well. Trusty, if he is to get the nod, is obviously the new player in there. We've got to give him much more time. I wouldn't rush to judgment after his first game and a totally changed back four that's never played together. So I think he will replace Carter-Vickers tomorrow. I think he has to, as the £6 million signing. I don't think there's any danger we're going to see Welsh or Nawrocki come in, and again hopefully he puts in a good performance, the big man, and he's going to take 3 or 4 games to settle in. As a wee opportunity for him. By no means is he going to displace Carter-Vickers out of the team, but as a new signing coming in for big money, you want to impress the manager, and it looks like he might have a chance to do that tomorrow. So in midfield, McGregor, Engels back in the team. He had to come off the bench last weekend. Brilliant effect, but I think he'll start obviously tomorrow. And I'm going with Hatate. I just want to touch on last weekend's team, by the way. A bit of a stab in the dark, but I did manage to get 7 from 11, which I think was all right. Hatate did start in midfield instead of Engels. Bernardo got his start as well and scored a really good goal, but I just think Bernardo will drop back to the bench, and Hatate will start in there. It's going to be really interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers does with the midfield on Tuesday in Dortmund. That's a different game, a totally different prospect. Paulo Bernardo is a player who presses the game really well. I think I read a stat in the build-up to the Bratislava game that Paulo Bernardo had the most high-intensity pressures of any player in the Champions League group stage last season, which is quite a stat. So could he be more suited, if you like, to some of the physical defensive work we might need to do in Dortmund on Tuesday? We'll wait and see, but I think tomorrow it's going to go back to that 3: McGregor, Engels, Hatate, and I'm saying that as if they've played together for a long time. Of course, Engels is just in the door, but in the 2 or 3 games he's played, he looks like he's been there for 2 or 3 years. He's replaced Matt O'Reilly almost seamlessly, and already some very, very early shouts that he could be equal to or better than Matt O'Reilly, but we'll reserve judgment on that until we've seen some more of him. But I've been really, really impressed with him. Looks like he's got everything to his game that you'd want from a midfield player, and looks so mature for someone at such a young age coming into a big club for a big price tag. So long may his impressive start continue. In the front 3, I'm going Kuhn, the man that changed the game last weekend for us, Maeda to return on the left-hand side, and Kyogo, who was on the bench but was an unused sub last weekend, to come back through the middle. I think that front 3 is a first choice right now. It was good for Ida to get a couple of goals last weekend. He was on the periphery of the game, basically because for the first 60-65 minutes we could barely get any service to him. He was absolutely on the outside, but you see the difference when Kuhn comes on and we start getting chances to him. He was a real handful for Falkirk and he scored 2 brilliant goals, particularly the second one. He takes a lovely touch in between the centre halves, beats the goalkeeper, 2 goals in under a minute. Again, off the back of that goal off the bench against Bratislava, following up with a brace, he'll be full of confidence. He'll no doubt take some part in this game. And again, having a striker full of confidence, if he is to be on the bench or come on as an impact sub, is going to bode well for tomorrow, but also for that big game on Tuesday. Maeda, a rest will have done him the world of good. I know sometimes he plays as if he looks like he could play forever and he never needs a rest because he's so fit, but that week off will have done him the world of good. And Kyogo back in the team again, gets his goal against Bratislava. I think he is having some problems in front of goal just now. He looks a wee bit short on confidence and in one-on-one situations. But again, he's so key to the way the team presses the game, and I think he's definitely going to start. And then we'll come to that one again on Tuesday. But you'd back him to start in that game as well. I just think the intensity that we need to bring in those bigger games off the ball means that Kyogo is a shoe-in. But I would like to see him really improve in front of goal. There's lots of chances there for him. I think he scored 74 goals in his time at Celtic. So how much longer is he going to be here? We don't know. He's only 25, 26 goals away from that 100 club, which is quite exclusive. In terms of Celtic players, there's chances there for him. He's just got to start putting them away, and hopefully he can do that tomorrow. So there you go. That's a lineup I think Brendan Rodgers will go with. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Like this video, and we'll be back with you tomorrow in Perth at McDermott Park with the full-time reaction. See you then. Cheers.